Have you ever wondered why some women tend to move through life so easily? They literally get any single opportunity fall into their lap. And it feels like they have this magic, they have this charm to get whatever they want in life, even if they didn't ask for it. They tend to make a ton of amazing friends, they know how to nurture their relationships, and they always attract amazing partners. What if I told you that it has nothing to do with luck, or it's not an unattainable quality that's only reserved for a select few, but it's a set of life skills that you can learn and embody and practice. It's like playing handball. It's like learning how to salsa. These are skills that can be learned as well as these life skills that I'm about to share with you that can help master your magnetism and help you attract the abundance that you're after. Have you ever asked yourself, what does it take to be a woman that effortlessly attracts whatever she wants? What if being highly effective isn't about doing more, but it's about mastering the right things? And lastly, what if the way you move, speak, think is one of the greatest assets you can have? In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the 8 essential life skills that you need to have if you want to be a highly effective woman. The kind of woman who creates, attracts, and leads with grace. The first life skill is time management. When you do not have control over your time, you do not have control over your life. You need to see time as if it is your money. When you do not budget your time like how you budget your money, you essentially do not have control. You need to intentionally allocate and manage your money, as well as intentionally using your money so that you can have greater control over your life. So this means you need to stop being fixated on just staying busy. And in fact, you want to start allocating your time for high value activities. We like to stay busy because we think we're being productive. And when we are so tired by the end of the day, we feel like we're actually moving the needle forward. But if you take a step back and analyze all the things that you did that day, are those tasks actually moving you forward to your long-term goals? Or are they keeping you stuck in survival mode today? And this is especially geared towards my entrepreneurial girlies or people who have a really huge career. We tend to like to put everything on our plate and we tend to feel like we need to do everything. But your time also has a dollar amount. So what is your hourly rate? And ask yourself, are the things that I'm doing day to day, are they bringing me long term, or is this only keeping me stuck? And you need to be honest about how you are using your time. Now look at different resources available. A platform that I like to use is Fiverr, and Fiverr has a lot of very affordable freelancers that can help you with these things. If you look at the prices there, and then you reflect back, what are my prices? What are my hourly rate? If the cost of outsourcing help is lower than your hourly rate, you need to start outsourcing immediately. A really big shift starts to occur. You finally take charge of your time and energy as if it is a limited resource, as if it is sacred. So you stop hanging out with certain people because they either have been disrespecting you or they do not fuel you in the slightest, and you have so much more respect over your time than ever before. Focusing on high value activities doesn't mean filling your time with only high value activities, but a high value activity is also rest and play. As human beings, we need to fill our own cup. And when those creative juices flow, we feel that we can create more. We feel more excitement for life, and we feel that life force energy coming back to us. And that enables us to create more, to lead more, to inspire more. Time management is learning how to play the long-term game. And I talk more about this in my video called The 12-Week Year. If you want to know more about how I manage my time, check out the video. The second life skill is using ChatGPT or any sort of AI technology. I taught my mom how to use ChatGPT literally 6 months ago, and she has seriously been loving it, and she cannot live without it. ChatGPT and AI is literally changing the game. And if you are not tapping into the powers on how to enhance your life, how it can save more time, you are seriously missing out. Not only is it so much easier now to engage in new information, so if you are a student and you are trying to learn something literally in 2 hours before your exam, using ChatGPT to help you summarize everything that you need is going to help you save so much time. Some use cases where I like to use ChatGPT is translation. And this is something that my mom uses as well. She essentially says what she wants in a specific language. So she speaks Chinese directly to ChatGPT, and she asks ChatGPT to help her write a well-crafted message to her boss. And it spits out that same message, but in English. And it's so well written. I've seen it myself. If you want to talk to a supplier, if you want to talk to someone who is clearly not understanding you based on their own language barriers, you can use ChatGPT to communicate clearly on what you are trying to say. Another thing that I love to do is I love brainstorming content ideas and also creating content for my business. There are also therapeutic benefits to using ChatGPT. And again, this comes at a caution because they do sell your information. But if you feel comfortable enough sharing your struggles or things that you're working through, using ChatGPT to help you identify limiting beliefs is so powerful, because ChatGPT can also help you rewire and reframe certain narratives that you've been thinking that has been so blind to you, because our subconscious patterns are so normal to us. We think like that every day. So we are not able to see and reframe a different level of thinking. And the more that we release our limiting beliefs and using ChatGPT to help with that, you are going to learn how to master your negative thoughts and ultimately your life. You can get ChatGPT to code for you. I don't know a single thing about coding, and I don't think I'm going to learn, but I love that I can use basic English language to tell ChatGPT what I want the code to do, and ChatGPT will give me all of that code and I just copy and paste it. And this is also a really powerful way to start your own software business, your own startup, and using ChatGPT to at least help with that manual labor of coding, helping you brainstorm new ideas and new angles and how to code as well. When you know how to utilize it and when you are finding different angles, and I love going online to find different resources, there are so many different ways of using ChatGPT, and every day I am learning something new that I can do on ChatGPT and using AI. The crazy thing about AI is that it's always evolving, and it's evolving in the direction where, as the end user, it's a lot easier to implement technology in your life, and it's a lot easier to learn new information. Now, the third life skill is financial literacy and learning how to budget and invest. A lot of women feel so queasy and so anxious when we look at our bank accounts, and the more that we avoid our bank account, the more that we avoid facing the music and managing our money and taking charge of our financial well-being, the more that it will control our lives. Spending on things that make us happy, or even spending on things that we need, can cause us to feel guilty. It's because people who don't budget live with one financial philosophy, which is to spend as little as possible. It doesn't work, because every time we spend, whether these are things that we need or things that we want, we're always going to feel guilty about it. And that guilt leads to feeling even more financial fear and essentially no control over our own financial situation. But we need to be realistic. Life requires money, and we cannot keep villainizing money, because money is a part of life. We are going to need to use it. So this is your wake-up call to master your money. Why is financial literacy so important for highly effective women? So financial literacy can help you plan for things that are important to you, like, do you want to quit your job and travel the world? Do you want to buy a house for your children? Do you want to wear nicer clothing and go out there and looking really hot? But when we don't have a plan to get us to that end point, we're always going to feel confused, and we're always going to wonder whether these things are going to be possible for us or not. It helps us to be honest about what we want in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and we need to start planning and engaging today. Financial literacy helps us revamp the question, going from, oh, I hope this happens, to when and how is it going to happen? Financial literacy can help you with your confidence and also your life choices. I know a lot of people who stay in toxic relationships because they feel that they do not have control over their financial life. So they end up subjecting themselves in toxic environments because they depend on their partners to be able to survive. But It is really scary. Financial literacy is scary. But how scary is it to stay in a situation that clearly isn't serving you and making you very unhappy and disrespected than learning financial literacy? Like, is financial literacy that scary? A thing that you can do is you don't have to take action on budgeting and doing all of these things all in one go, but just exploring personal finance books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like The Million Next Door. There are so many different books and resources out there to help you take charge of your financial well-being today. These are life skills. These are not skills that a baby is born with. I don't think Warren Buffett was born to learn how to invest. Some common financial mistakes that women tend to make is, number one, they do not allocate for a rainy day. When things go bad, your car breaks down, you lose your job, what is your backup plan? These are things that you need to start thinking about. Number two is women do not invest. They feel that investing is only for finance bros. It's so out of their league to invest. But investing is a lot simpler than you think, and reading a book or two about personal finance and learning how to invest is going to solve all your problems, and it's actually a lot easier than you think. So please just experiment and approach these topics with curiosity rather than fear. Another thing is women tend to overspend without awareness or even without a plan. As women, we need to dress up, we need to look good, and budgeting is not going to minimize that at all. In fact, it's actually going to create more freedom and less guilt around that. But when we don't have awareness and we don't have control over what we're spending towards, we lose sight of the future. We do not have a plan. Therefore, our finances become super chaotic. You don't have to figure it all out by today. Just picking up a book, reading it, and being curious about how you can implement it in your life. That's all it takes. Just chipping it away an hour a day, learning about finances, learning how to budget, all of these things is the foundational key to living a life of freedom, living a life of self-expression, and being your best potential. Skill number 4 is building and maintaining relationships. Harvard conducted one of the longest studies on happiness, and it went on for about 80 years, and they studied why happy people are so incredibly happy. Is it their relationships? Is it their jobs? Is it their fame? Is it their money? Is it their wealth? Is it the fact that they're really skinny and really pretty? What makes people so darn happy? Which is the end goal for everyone, right? What they found out is that the strongest predictor of whether someone is happy or not is the amount of high quality relationships they have in their own life. This is not just limited to your romantic partner, but this also includes your friends, your family, your workmates, all of the people that are surrounding you. Why does this matter so darn much, especially being a highly effective woman? As humans, we are wired for connection, and we are wired to depend on one another. And when we reject that, which society often does, telling us to be strong, independent women, when we reject that, we deprive ourselves from love and connection, which is the essential to creating a fulfilling, full, and happy life. The life skill associated to this is not only do you need to learn how to build and make new friends, that is a really great skill to have because it is such a core pillar to your happiness, but it's also about learning how to maintain those relationships, learning the importance of investing in relationships so they pay you forward. And it's one of the greatest investments you can make. A lot of the times we associate investments with money, but investing in your friendships today, showing up for your friends when it counts, helping your family out, these are all things that add up day by day, year by year. And when it comes to a time where you're struggling, which you will approach a time where that happens, I know as entrepreneurs, we tend to focus so much on success and making it to the top, and we tend to neglect ourselves, and we essentially trap ourselves at home trying to make our dreams work. But we end up closing off on a lot of people that love and care about us. Happiness may not always be waiting at the top, no matter how much you think it's going to be at the top waiting for you when you reach your goals, but it's about the human connections that you have that makes life amazing. Another reason why maintaining and building relationships is so important is because you are also the average of the top 5 people that you hang out with. So how do you attract amazing people in your life? You need to be honest with yourself about what you value. If you don't have any of these people in your life, that's okay, because the process to getting there can be quite lonely. So you attract the right people and living a value-driven life rather than a status-driven life. When we are status driven, we like to think of how many followers we have, how many friends we have, how many comments we have. These are all quantitative things that ultimately lead to surface level connections. When we focus too much on numbers and how to be perceived, we attract people like that as well. And it sucks being around people like that. For me, I've always been a deep thinker. I've always loved self-development, and this is the type of thing that people often think it's cringy. Yeah, showing up on YouTube is cringy, but that is the beauty. You really want to think about, if people do not accept you for this side of you, then are they really people worth having in your life? I've had people telling me that I'm too cringe, too much, too deep. Those comments are a reflection of their own fears. It has nothing to do with you. Oftentimes, when people judge others for being too cringe, being too much, they often battle with their own self-limiting beliefs about how expressive they can be, how authentic they can be, and they tend to be very, very miserable people. Your depth is your power. And the people that see it, recognize it, and love you for it, those are the types of people you want to attract and have in your life. And the first step, essentially, is to have courage. This leads me to the next life skill, which is being an effective communicator. There are two parts to this. So the first part is about setting boundaries. Setting boundaries is one of the scariest, but most effective way to show people what kind of woman you are. Are you the type of woman that is a people pleaser, a doormat, or are you someone that is worth respecting? How you present yourself, how you communicate to others is how people will treat you back. And when you speak to others, you are essentially teaching them how to treat you. The reason why it is scary to set our boundaries sometimes is because as children, we have been taught to be good girls. Be a good girl and clean your room. Be a good girl and wash your dishes. Be a good girl and do this. There's always a condition, and you have to be a good girl. But society tends to look down on people that act like a So men can be assertive in the workplace, and it shows their masculinity. But when a woman puts her foot down, she's called a We cannot keep living under the conditioning that we need to be quiet about things that matter to us. And quite honestly, if you meet a woman who rejects her own needs, rejects her own values, no one ends up respecting a woman like that. And that's just the hard truth. Boundary setting is a life skill. Again, you are not born with this skill. You are not born to be a clear communicator. You learn it throughout your life. Effective communication starts with honoring your own feelings. And it's about being honest about how you feel and using a diary, using any way to vent and write out the things that are bothering you, as well as allowing yourself to release and express what you've been suppressing for so long. Boundaries help you set up high value energy. Highly effective women do not have time for BS. And in fact, they know that they value their time so much that they stand up for themselves when they know that they're being treated like a doormat or treated as not important or essentially disrespected. Setting boundaries is not only about respecting yourself, but it's learning how to manage your emotions and then processing those emotions and learning how to effectively communicate your concerns to the opposing party. A high-value woman knows that if they are setting boundaries, it doesn't have to come with drama, pointing fingers, naming names, victim blaming, but it's about how you can speak to the opposing party in the most clear, objective, and empathetic way, so that the opposing party can receive your message well. Instead of reacting from emotion like anger, frustration, and fear, instead you are learning to translate your feelings into words. And that is also a life skill. What I love to do when it comes to this is using ChatGPT for conflict resolution as well. So when we go through problems, especially in our relationships, friendships, even with our boss, we tend to rant to our friends, to our family, the very first thing. But what you can do is you can rant to ChatGPT ChatGPT can help you reframe the situation and see it from a POV of a high-value woman. And ChatGPT can also help you craft a message to set boundaries or to show people that you can't be disrespected, and putting it in a way so that the other party can be receptive to your comments. Not only can ChatGPT help you translate languages, but it can also help you translate your frustration to something that could be a very empowering, honest, and empathetic message to the other person. ChatGPT can also help you hold better guiding questions. So if you're going through issues with your romantic partner and you want to talk things out in a very clear and honest way, ChatGPT can also help you set out questions that you can ask your partner to help you engage in a deeper discussion so you don't ever go through the same issue again. Because most romantic partner issues tend to be resolved through a deep conversation and just being honest about each other's feelings. We can't keep suppressing these things. We need to talk about it. And ChatGPT can be a really great mediator in the process to help you engage in a deeper connection with your partner. Communication is also so important in your career. If you are a clear communicator in your career, you attract better opportunities. For example, if you're in an interview and you're having trouble communicating a story or a particular skill that you have, it doesn't matter how skilled you are at what you do. If you cannot translate your thoughts into concise words, no one is going to understand you, no matter how great your ideas are. Communication is not something you are born with. It is something that is cultivated over time through trial and error. Something that I highly recommend is joining Toastmasters. Toastmasters is known for its public speaking training, but I think Toastmasters is a really great way to learn how to express yourself in the most confident way. Your voice as a highly effective woman is your power. How you express yourself, how you deal with conflict, how you set boundaries, your ideas, all of this is what makes you a powerful woman. A high-value woman knows that her voice and her words carry weight. So start practicing and start leading your life by putting more power into your words. Start living according to your own word. Skill number 6 is happiness and gratitude. Happiness is a learned skill. A lot of us have learned the art of pessimistic thinking. And this way of thinking, this way of always approaching and seeing lack in every situation, this is also something that has been taught to us. And these are often schools of thought taught by our teachers, our parents, our friends. And when we normalize this way of thinking, and when we hear this school of thought time and time again, we are going to normalize it and think it's the truth. But happiness, positive thinking, appreciation, gratitude is also a life skill. And it's very similar to learning how to salsa, learning how to write, learning how to draw, learning the alphabet. Happiness is also something that can be learned. It takes a lot of conscious effort, a lot of intention, personal discovery to master happiness. And your baseline can improve over time. Surrounding yourself with positive influences also matter. So spending time with people that are upbeat, that are positive, but are also low maintenance and don't cause drama, these are the types of people that you want to spend the most time with. Your mindset is also crucial. The more that we focus on what's working well in our lives, and the more that we focus on appreciating what we have already, that cultivates really feel-good emotions that allow us to feel more excited to create, more excited to experience life. There's a really great book by Ali Abdul. It's called Feel Good Productivity, and I love this book because it completely revolutionizes the way that you see work and the way that you see productivity as a whole. He talks a lot about how joy, happiness, and finding fun in the mundane is really important to building the kind of business we want, the kind of lives we want to have. And work is a really big part of our lives. So if we don't have fun with it, life's gonna suck. So start spicing up your desk, making a work playlist, and finding some way to feel really good about showing up to these boring or mundane tasks. Happiness is also about adding what is creating more happiness, but also reducing what isn't making you happy. So these could be friendships. If they're seriously draining your life, please just cut them out right now. It's just not worth your time. Another thing that has been massively attributing to my happiness and overall gratitude is cutting off social media, especially TikTok and Instagram. TikTok and Instagram completely depletes your energy. You may think that sitting on your bed, scrolling through Instagram and TikTok can feel harmless. But what happens is when you go through all of these dopamine spikes from watching the next reel, watching the next TikTok, you end up depleting so much of your life force energy towards things that don't matter. And on top of that, I feel that Instagram reels and TikToks, they have so many different advice. And when you try to implement one thing and then the next day you see another piece of advice and you try to implement that, you don't end up going anywhere. So reducing TikTok and Instagram, or even deleting it as a whole, can help you make empowered decisions in your life, so it can help you move forward. And it also adds more capacity in your brain to be happy and to live life in the present moment. If negativity was learned from your parents, then happiness is also something that can be learned. Happiness is actually not about adding more. It's not about adding more activities, adding more fun, but it's also about letting go of a lot of guilt and shame and negative energy that we feel like we need to hold on to, but we don't. And letting go of that slowly can help you raise your vibration over time. The more happy and more joyful you are, you tend to be more magnetic as a person, and you're able to influence, you're able to create more, and people naturally see you as someone that is incredibly charismatic. Now, the next life skill is feminine care and appearance. For many of us who didn't grow up with feminine role models, if your mom did not really express herself through makeup and dressing well, then you probably didn't do that either. But being hot, being sexy, being beautiful, this is all a learned skill as well. We were also raised to believe that if we're deep or if we're smart, we don't have to invest in makeup, looking good, wearing nice clothes. And we always associate that when people look good, dress good, they're not smart. Where did all these beliefs come from? But the people that invest in how they look, dressing well, knowing how to do their makeup right, these people attract way more opportunities. It's not because they're pretty. It's not because they have rich parents. But it's about understanding themselves and knowing how to dress the part, because when you dress the part, you also exude a level of charm, magnetism, and confidence along the way. But here's the truth. Feminine care and learning how to dress yourself up is so incredibly powerful in how you are being perceived in the world. And it is a massive form of self-respect. Yes, this channel is all about inner growth, but we also need to represent ourselves in the best way possible, and that comes with dressing up and looking good. This was actually a huge challenge for me because I grew up wearing boy clothing. I wore boy clothes, I wore basketball shorts and oversized tees, and it's really comfortable. Honestly, I love wearing those clothes. I still do at home, but when I wore those clothes when I was a kid, what I was really trying to hide was my body. But secretly, I actually wanted to wear dresses. I wanted to wear pink. I wanted to wear makeup, wear mascara. I wanted to express myself and be just like the Tumblr girl, you know? But I was so insecure of my body image that I would rather hide myself with big, baggy clothing so I don't get scrutinized. That I would rather reject myself to hide myself than to be brave enough to express my true colors and the kind of woman I want to be, especially if you didn't grow up being beautiful. And I grew up as an ugly duckling myself. Being beautiful takes a lot of courage. And it's a lot of audacity, especially if you've never seen yourself that way in the past. But as we grow up, puberty happens, we end up looking good, and we don't really know what to do with it. So learn how to shift your identity and see yourself as a beautiful being. You do not have to look like Bella Hadid to feel beautiful. You are only beautiful when you feel beautiful. And when you feel beautiful, you will naturally do things to care for yourself more, to dress up better, and naturally your belief will translate and manifest into your physical actions. So ask yourself, do I believe I deserve to feel beautiful? Feminine care is not something you're born with. It is something that you learn. Do you shower every day? Do you have a skincare routine? What kind of clothes make you feel empowered? Makes you feel like the type of woman you are becoming? Do you care for your scalp, your skin, your body? Do your clothes make you feel empowered? Or do they feel cheap, skanky, you just don't feel good in your skin? What is the fullest expression of you and the type of woman you want to become? Or are you shrinking yourself, believing that you're not that type of girl and you don't deserve to wear an outfit like that? The more that you give yourself permission to rise, the more life rewards you. Learning about your appearance is also a form of art, and it's also something to be learned. For me, I do not look good in high-waisted pants, especially the effortless pants from Aritzia. I cannot wear those because I end up looking like a box. But I love wearing dresses, and I look really good in bodycon dresses. So I allocate a lot of my money towards dresses that make me feel and look good. And we cannot always chase trends, but we need to start looking at our own bodies and seeing what fits us. Makeup is also an art. Learning how to do your eyeliner and drawing your eyebrows, learning how to do my makeup now, that has also been an evolutionary process. Dressing up, doing your makeup is not about attracting others or getting external validation, but it's about revealing the kind of woman we are on the inside and sharing with the world what kind of woman we are. Feminine care enhances your magnetism as a highly effective woman. It amplifies your charisma, your charm, your confidence, your influence, and it essentially rolls over and it enhances all other aspects of your life. You will attract opportunities that come out of nowhere because you embody your energy through the way you look. Feminine care is not shallow. It is an embodiment of self-respect and self-devotion. The more that you care for yourself, the more life will mirror back that care for you. Lastly, skill number 8 is acquiring specific knowledge. Acquiring specific knowledge is something that is unique to you. It cannot be trained, it cannot be taught, it cannot be easily replaced. If society can train you to do it, then you can be easily replaced. But acquiring specific knowledge is something that is unique to you. So, what specifically is specific knowledge? Specific knowledge is a combination of your DNA, your unique upbringing, your response to your unique upbringing, and your life experiences. It's a combination of your struggles, your pain, but also how you eventually overcame that pain and what kind of lessons you've learned along the way. Think of it as a recipe that only you have, and no one can replicate your unique energy. So where does specific knowledge come from? Specific knowledge comes from things that we are passionate about, things that we are obsessed with, things we literally cannot stop talking about. We don't do these things to chase trends or to make money, but we genuinely would pay money to do what we love to do so much. These are the types of activities that feel like play to you, but from the outside, it looks like work to others. It is something that is highly technical or highly creative, and no one can do what you do. You cannot outsource this kind of work. For example, this could be sales mastery. This could be creating a startup. This could be making YouTube videos, making songs and writing songs. All of these are a representation of your unique blueprint as an individual. So why is having specific knowledge so important? The reason why having specific knowledge is important is because life is evolving. The job market is evolving. Things are changing. And robots can replicate literally a lot of the current jobs that are in the world today. AI is changing the game. But AI is also creating a lot of new jobs. So it's about creating something that can't be replaced. The traditional path is to get a degree, get a stable job, especially working in government, because I feel like a lot of parents want their kids to work in government, and then retiring, and then dying. This is the kind of life that is laid out for us. But homing in to specific knowledge is when we are embracing our authenticity and our natural curiosity for life and using that to build our wealth. The economy is changing, and it's killing a lot of old existing jobs. But at the same time, AI is also creating a lot of new jobs and new opportunities as well. There are a ton of new markets, like being an influencer, having a digital marketing agency, having your own online business. These are all new avenues that didn't exist 60 years ago. But these types of jobs only existed because these people have been tapping into their own specific knowledge. When you lean into your specific knowledge and learning to develop your specific knowledge, it's that one skill set that you know that only you have and no one can replace you. When you develop that and when you become better every day, you end up holding so much power, and that leads to more wealth. Greater opportunities to build your wealth. Wealth comes from authenticity and originality. It doesn't come from fitting a mold. To escape competition, the best way is to be yourself and to follow your heart and lead with your values rather than doing what's the most lucrative or doing what everyone else is telling you to do. It's about following your own heart. So finally, when you build your life around who you are, when you embrace your originality, you become irreplaceable. The truth is, you're not meant to play small. You're not meant to hide. You're not meant to be mediocre. And you are not meant to be on this planet to constantly question your worth. You are here to thrive, to lead, to create, and to become the kind of woman that naturally attracts opportunities, people, and the abundance you deserve to have. These 8 life skills are not things that people are born with, and especially if you want to be a highly effective woman, these are life skills that require training, they require development, and they require a lot of trial and error. This is your blueprint to create the most magnetic, fulfilling, and most amazing version of you. And like any other skill, these skills can also be refined, developed, trained, and you become so much better at these life skills as time goes on. So ask yourself, what is that one shift you want to make that is going to completely change your life? Write it down in the comments below, because I'd love to hear. And the moment that you start giving yourself permission to be her, life begins to rise and meet you. And that is where your power truly begins. Have a good week.